Ready?
Yeah.
Oh, and then you can edit this too.
Okay, oh, awesome.
She's like, oh yeah, sweet.
The sound of my own voice. Hi, my name is Zoe Hertzberg. I'm a recent graduate of CalArts with a BFA in acting from the theater school and a minor in creative writing from the School of Critical Studies.
One second, sorry.
Should I do the beginning again?
Why not?
Take two.
Hi, my name is Zoe Hertzberg. I'm a recent grad from the California School of the Arts. Do I need to say that part? No.
It's also not School of the Arts.
California Institute of... I just black out. Oh my God, okay, perfect.
You can use all of this in your edit if you want.
Yes. This is perfect.
California Institute of the Arts. Let's try again. I picked CalArts because, well, the honest answer is because there's no regular school. I was in AP and IB in high school, so I was like really on that studying grind. And I actually wasn't gonna apply to CalArts, but my dad was like, I think that CalArts is what you imagine college to be like, and you could really benefit from an environment where you aren't told exactly what to do, and you kind of have to find that path for yourself. And so I applied, and I wrote my essay about how much I hated applying for college. I literally wrote it the night before it was due. And then I had my Zoom audition, because this was during the pandemic, and I had Andrea, who's our interim dean, was the person interviewing me, and she was like, Zoe, I'm such a fan of your work. And I was like, what? Like, what work? You've seen 2 self-tapes. But I think that was really, really awesome to feel like somebody personally saw me, and some of the audition material I was doing, I was like, I know I'm taking a risk here, and she was like, yeah, I can see that, and like, that's super awesome, and like, I feel like you would fit in here. And seeing the other colleges and like how burnt out their theater students were at the end was a downvote for other places. And I also knew, I know this is contentious, but I knew about the Barantes voice system, and I was very interested in learning it here because it's the only place that it's really taught.
Can you tell us more about the voice system?
Yeah. Yeah, because I have no idea what that is.
So it was developed by Rafael Lopez Barantes, who is a teacher here. He's often on sabbatical / he's just old now and doesn't want to be here. Okay, let me try this again. He sometimes is here.
Wait, start from the beginning. So the Barantes.
Okay, yes. So the Barantes voice system was developed by Rafael Lopez Barantes, who's one of the teachers here, and it's a voice system that combines a lot of other voice systems. I have the book, I should finish it in total, but it's about basically like different elements have different correlations to sections of the body that also have different parts of your voice. So it's like your regular speaking voice is like your natural pitch, and then you can go into like earth, which is like a lower register, or you can go into the woods, which is a higher register. And it just gives you a lot of options for voice acting and character building, and I enjoy it a lot because I think it's really like ridiculous in a good way. So I started doing theater when I was in kindergarten. I was in a multi-age program. So it's basically kindergarten through 3rd grade all in one classroom, and we studied like a lot of art as a way to study everything else. So they kind of were like, if we think of kindergarten through 3rd grade as like one grade, and that like everyone will get to the standards when they get there. And so the play was something that we worked on as like a way to learn about like speaking and performance and also history. So yeah, that's when I started doing musical theater, and I did the musical theater all the way through high school. I did my first play when I was in high school. And yeah, I don't know, theater has just kind of always been that thing that I'm like, I have to do it.
That's awesome.
Okay, let me think about how I want to say this. I think the theater community here, the thing that is so beautiful about it is that there are a lot of people who do a lot of different things. And my favorite part is that like the rehearsal space is ours and is like free all the time. So you can rehearse and put things up whenever you want. So I've gotten to work with a lot of my other peers and also witness my other peers' work of like things that they've written and that they've put up, or things that they've devised and put up. And it's just really like interdisciplinary in that way if you are working towards it. I think it's easy to just go through your training and be like, oh, no one wanted to be interdisciplinary with me. But I think if you seek it out, especially in your first couple years, you have the time to do it. It's great to work with other people. Like I worked with one of my other friends on this burlesque show, and we worked on like physical projections and everything, and it was super, super awesome. So yeah, I think the thing about the community is that if you have an idea and you want to put it out there, you can make it happen. And all the people are here and they want to support you because everyone, like, there's nothing happening outside of the school. So everyone wants to be here and like working on something. The days are obviously different because you take different classes on different days, but a typical week during like a show week would be taking all of your standard classes. So for the first year through the third year, you are required to take voice, which is Bronte's voice system, and also Linklater. Speech, which starts with the Edith Skinner method for standardized speech, and then transitions into dialect work. And then movement, which there's different kinds of movement. In my years, I had yoga, capoeira, stage combat, gaga, and several other things. His name starts with G. Anyways, yes, you take those, and then you also take acting studio. And acting studio is like 4 hours in the afternoon. So usually you'd have a day that's like you take 3 of your skill classes, and then you have another day where you take 1 skill class, and then you take studio. And studio, and all of the classes are 2 times a week. And studio is like 3 to 4 hours of working on scene study and working on like what you think of when you think of like acting, whereas the other things are more of techniques. And then if you're in production is from 7 to 11 p.m. every night for however long you're rehearsing. So there's also that. So it's like you do the full day and then you go to production, and there you're either directed by an outside director, a faculty director, or an MFA director, and you're just working on what you're going to be putting up in a space like this. I guess the like cliche thing to say for the thing that I've learned that I'm going to carry with me, well, I think all of the skills that I've learned here are things that I can apply to the outside world, like speaking of movement, of voice. And I think knowing that I have a BFA and I have all of this like training in my back pocket is something that I will take with me, because you won't always like feel confident, and there's no like confidence shortcut, but you can be like, oh, I'm trained to do all of this and like I can do it. I just need to get over the mental hurdle of being scared. So I think that's something that I'll take with me going into postgrad.
You're doing amazing.
So when you go into production, when you go into production, basically for the actors, it starts as the audition process. So you start the top of the semester doing an audition, and then you do callbacks in that week. And then if you get cast, you go into the first day of rehearsal. And on the first day of rehearsal, usually there'll be a read through, and then they'll also have all of the tech team, which is your stage managers, your scenic designers, your lighting designers, everyone on the design team, and they'll present the designs for the space. So even before the actors are brought in, you have an entire team of people that's working on the show. And then when we go into rehearsal, it's usually just the stage managers and the actors, and we're like working. And then when we go into tech, we'll come into the space and we'll get to see everything that is built and that they've made, and start working with, like, in Daunton we had integrated projection, so that was something that like we really had to work out during tech, was how to integrate the designs of the designer with what we'd been rehearsing. But yeah, there's tons of people working on a production that you see and that you also don't see. There's usually like twice as many people that are on stage behind the scenes working, or at least working twice as many hours. Well, mostly only in School of Theater, XTP. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay. So speaking of collaboration, one of the things that I was able to do interdisciplinarily with some of the other people at the school was work on this show called Grotesque Burlesque. We did it for 2 years. First year it was just Grotesque Burlesque, and then second year it was Grotesque Burlesque Gothic Underground. And I was on the producing team with that, along with somebody who's also named Zoe Lappin, who's a video designer and graduated a year above me. And then also Victoria Solorio, who's in XDP. She helped to design the projections. Her and Zoe worked together because we use Magic Lantern style projections for the show. And then our stage manager was Darby, first name only. And it was really awesome to work with people in other disciplines, because Zoe reached out to me and was like, hey, I have this idea for this show, and like, I think you're really cool and could work on it. And I hadn't really done producing before like that on a show that I wasn't in. And so it was cool to learn the steps of like, okay, how do we fill out the budget for student union? How do we make sure that we get the grants that we need? How do we make sure that the School of Theater knows that we are going to be using this space, that we need chairs? And both years it was like at complete capacity. So that was like super awesome to see our event get to like give back to the community. It's an open performer input, so anyone from any school can perform. So we've had performers that are from the School of Art, from School of Theater, and from School of Experimental Animation. Hopefully I didn't miss any other of the schools. A lot of the feedback that I heard from like School of XTP and School of Experimental Animation was that it was nice to have an opportunity to perform. Because I think for the actors, we take for granted that every single day we can just perform. And the other métiers are like, we don't have that. So it was really nice to get to give a stage and a platform to the other métiers to see what they do and see how we do. And there's a lot of like special effects in the show and like costume and design elements. So it's also cool to bring on other métiers and see how like an experimental animator would build an active prop for a live performance.
How are you doing? Okay, amazing.
Well, I think the first person that comes to mind when I think of somebody at CalArts who's really inspired me is another actor in the acting program named Skylar Shen. She was 1 year above me, and she was a performance writer, director, and I think was the first coffee house show that I ever did. She wrote a show called The Fishbowl Sonata, or not The Fishbowl Sonata, just Fishbowl Sonata. And it was about this family. It was based on a true crime case, but she wrote it and, wait, let me think of the true crime case that it is called. The guy's name is Fritzl, Josef Fritzl. Anyways, it's based off of this guy who like kidnapped his own daughter and put her in a basement and then like had a family with her. And so the whole play basically takes place in this basement. But it was really cool to see how like she took a piece of like something that she found interesting of like real history, transformed it into this text. And the structure of the show was like very poetic and also movement based. And that's the longest I've ever worked on a show, I think, because we did it all here at CalArts and then we did it at the Hollywood Fringe Festival. But I think she's somebody who really inspires me just because she writes a lot and performs a lot and does like movement and is always like doing her own thing. And I'm like, that's so awesome. And also just because I've gotten to be in 2 of her rehearsal processes here at school, it's been really cool to be like, oh, this is somebody who's just a year above me, but is like doing so much and like kind of showing the path of things that are possible.
Awesome, that's super interesting. So I know I would describe you as a risky person, but what is the creative risk that you've taken while you're here?
Okay, yes. A creative risk that I have taken while I'm here is I did my stand-up show. I think when I came here, I definitely did not think of myself as a comedy person at all. I like didn't like laugh. Not that I didn't laugh, but I just like, I didn't watch a comedy and go like, ha ha ha, that's for me. And then I think after some time I was like, oh wait, actually I think I really want to do this. And it caused a lot of drama in my friend group. Like it's interesting to see the people that are like, oh yeah, I'd love to see you try a new thing, versus the people that are like, you don't deserve this, you shouldn't do that. And I was like, oh my God, this is crazy. But there was like this piece of me that was like, I know that I really want to do this and I really want to do it outside of school, because a lot of people were like, you should just do it as a workshop and like make it really small and do it in the smallest performance space. And I was like, I know that I want to like start putting branches outside of school. And so I did my first stand-up show, which was called Zoe 10, the conference to solve all of your problems. It's a pun on TEDx. A lot of people didn't get that, but that's okay. And we did it at Public Displays of Altadena, which was unfortunately lost in the fire, but was a super, super awesome DIY theater space and clown space. But yeah, it was really, it was like there was money on the line, there was audience on the line, and also, of course, your reputation on the line. And it's like, oh, am I about to like fuck up in front of all my peers and also lose money? But yeah, it ended up working out super great, and stand-up is something that I'm still super passionate about and like still doing. And I'm working on a new stand-up show. So it's exciting. I think from being at CalArts, I've grown in being more confident in taking up space. That was always on my reviews, because at the end of School of Theater, they give you like a sheet of paper where instead of grading you, they just like read you. And they're like, Zoe is not very good at advocating for herself. And I would always get that. I still got it on my final review, but I think that I feel better. I'm a little bit better at being like, okay, I think I know that this is what I want and I'm gonna do it. As opposed to like trying to look to everyone to be like, is it okay? Like, do you guys think I should do this? And, you know, obviously it's something I'm still working with, but yeah, I think knowing that it's like okay to take up space and like actively trying to take up the amount of space that is me is the thing that I've been working on at CalArts, and is something that I'm excited to keep working on.
Okay, so one more question. But before the final question, we do have a delivery for you.
What? Oh my gosh. Wait, this is crazy. Oh my God. This is awesome. Thanks, guys.
So you're not going to run
Opa.
out of space.
Wait, do I keep the tote bag too, or does it?
You get to keep the tote bag too. So last question is, what advice do you have for incoming students, for incoming theater students in particular?
My advice for incoming theater students would be just do whatever you want. I think that college goes by so fast, and everyone says that and you're like, oh wow, and then you get to the end and you're like, oh, it was really fast. But I think there's a lot of ideas that there are rules, and the sooner you can learn that, like, you can kind of just do whatever you want. Like, even if the theater school explicitly tells you not to, just do it anyways. Yeah, I think it's like not to be like self-righteous, but like we're the next generation of artists and like know what we want to see. So like make the things that you feel like aren't being seen or showed, and like get them out to cool people in your community, and cool people will see it and like come to you, and then you can build your own like community. That was a little bit word salad at the end, but yeah.